Well, I got to give a special guest spot to Mike. Mike comes in when he wants to talk and stuff like that. I guess he's been awake for a while. So we're going to be bringing in Mike Ball so he to get on the show. I always like when Mike gets on because it turns into a Twilight Zone.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, hello, little froggy.
Yes, I'm lonely. Wanna die.
Whoa.
You think I handle
WMMR-DB Rockford.
You know, if you ever watch Facebook Fridays with Marco at his regular station,
Lame.
They are kind of lame when they do their show in the background because, you know, when I'm doing the sweepers and stuff, that's meant for the radio.
Yeah.
And I'm actually pretty cool behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You know, we have to get on. Tomorrow's his Facebook Friday.
We're going to go check it out.
So
again.
while you're listening to me, you got to get up. You know, the Madhouse crew has to go over there and give them all kinds of bullshit, man. They do. Hey, there's the little one.
Hi, little boy.
What's going
up,
on, everyone?
Mikey, man?
My son in another state.
That's right. That's right.
Your channel's going pretty good, huh?
Yeah, man. I've been uploading and doing lives pretty much every single day. I don't miss a day where I don't upload.
Are you having fun or what?
I'm having the time of my life, and I sincerely cannot thank you guys enough, and also everyone that actually is supporting and watching.
He's being a kiss ass right now.
No, it's for real. It's for real because honestly,
that way I don't get on his ass here.
No, it's a real big deal. It's a real big deal, and people don't underappreciate stuff like this. You know, to be handed something like that, it's something that cannot be just, oh, it's no big deal kind of thing. Like, oh, thanks. You know, like, no, dude, like this is a big deal. And this is something that I'm embracing, and I'm not going to let anybody down, including you, especially because you're the one that it believed in me for this.
I'm surprised. You know, everybody's waiting for you to get Sosa Ghost on, man.
Dude, Sos is somebody I talk with all the time. He works with my father personally to do the masks and all that stuff. Sos is at my house all the time. He flies back.
So why ain't he on your program?
Why the hell ain't he on your show?
Well, I will be very honest. I'll be brutally honest. He is nonstop on his computer editing. That man puts in so much freaking work. Like, he is sitting at his desk editing for like 14, 15, 16 hours a day on every single video. And I'll hit him up. I'll be like, yo, I got this time frame. I got this. And he's like, man, I would love to, but I got this going. I got this. So it's kind of hard just logistically. But we're going to get there. We're going to get there eventually.
You know what? You guys need to. Anybody have Road Rage's Instagram account?
I do.
I have his Facebook.
You need to send him a link. I like to get him in on the show right now.
I can do that right now. I can literally do that this second.
Let's see if Rage is like camera shy, or is he has a face for the radio.
He is not camera shy.
I like to get him in on. I like to get him in on this segment here. Is vengeance better than justice? Then
I'll it's already sent. It's already sent. That's how quick. Boom.
So if he wants to come on, just click the link. What do you think about vengeance? We're going to go a little over on the show right now.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to interrupt, but by the way, guys, I was trying to watch from the cut. Meaning just in the back, you know, but you know, it's always a pleasure coming on. Listen, vengeance is a fool's game. And I said this earlier, vengeance is a fool's game. I just get even. And Rich had made a comment saying, well, isn't that vengeance? No. Revenge is out of control emotion. Getting even is staying in control. That is the goal, is always staying in control. So there's a difference between revenge and getting even, like an eye for an eye kind of instance. Revenge is like, I'm going to shoot you in the back 22 times. That's like the emotional. When people get shot a million times for no reason and it's overkill, that's emotion. That's what that is.
Yeah, but you don't think somebody deserves that kind of emotional deal if they kill their kids?
If they kill their kids, I mean, it depends on the crime. I'm going to say this, but like, for instance, like we were saying earlier, if another person grapes somebody, and I'm trying to use the right word so that we don't get demonetized here. Let's say they do that. I sincerely think they should, and if they're actually guilty, I'm not talking about false claims, but actually guilty, cut their shit off. Honestly, cut it all off. Because now, I don't care if you're in prison or out of prison, you can't do it to anybody else ever again. End of story.
You think that, China, that they should get a trial, and if they got a trial, then you should be able to exact the punishment?
I think the punishment needs to fit the crime. That's for damn sure.
I think that's a wussy way out.
If they have been found guilty, then, and let's say it was crime on a child, if they've been found guilty, put the parents in the room. Put them in the back right there. Let the parents solve it.
So what
their punishment should be the parents doing what they want to do to that inmate.
So what do you think about the incident with George? I wonder if he's still alive. He was a great motherfucker. But anyway, do you think he should have waited for a trial or handled it right there and then?
I think he did what was best for him at that time. And I hate to say it, but I agree with what he did.
I agree 1000% with what he did.
I think he did the right thing for the situation at hand.
Because he knew that it was true. Now, there might be some cases where you might want it to go to trial.
To my understanding with that situation, the babysitter admitted to his face.
Well, yeah, in that situation, yeah, get his ass.
Yeah, so...
You admit something to my face like that, there's going to be problems instantly.
So he did what needed to be done.
So it's kind of funny with your generation. They're all anti-death, and you're not, Mike.
Road rage.
Like I said,
at work, he can't come in right now.
Yeah, he's unfortunately at work. But
anybody got Steve's Instagram, man?
Let's get Steve.
No, but I did tell Steve. I told him build your Instagram account so that he can message me because he doesn't have it. He said he's
that's really the only way that you can get a hold of me too is Instagram. Because I get too many emails and it's hard to get through, especially with the website now. I just can't get through them. If you want to talk to me, you got to do it on Instagram.
Yep. That goes pretty much with all of us. Instagram is kind of the way to talk to people. But to get back on subject, I really think that I'm an old school kind of thinker. I'm not sure if it was the way I was raised or the people I was around. Or it's just my mentality. I really don't know, but I'm kind of the old school. Like, I think we should go back to publicly shaming and killing in the sense of, if you've done something so bad, you should be hung, stoned publicly. It should be a community thing where we all come together and we get to watch that piece of shit just get stoned to death because of what the kind of crime he's done. Let's say he's murdered or raped or whatever, all these things. It could be whatever. We need to get back to, it's all these people. Let's say we're all humans. We're all humans. We deserve second, third, fourth, sixth, 18 chances. No, forget that. How many times have we said, you mess up once, it's over?
You believe in what Iran does, Russia, and all that, kind of like me.
Yes. I don't think someone going in for, let's stay on topic with it, grape. They go and do that. They come out, then they do it again. They go back in and then come out. So you get to do it 3, 4, 5 more times before you're actually punished?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me if you agree with this. Revenge is about cycles, meaning it typically begets more revenge, where they say justice is about closure.
What do you think about that, Mike?
Yeah, because justice is, I understand that people need closure and they look towards the justice system for closure because unfortunately the justice system is the only system that will actually give out the kind of information that the families are looking for. Unfortunately, the streets can only say so much, kind of like what we said earlier before. It's not like we have our own forensic team. It's not like we have our own fingerprint scanners that we can just go ahead and just swab stuff. We can't do that. These are not at our disposal. So there are times that, the cops and stuff have information that we do not.
Mm-hmm. So that was a very interesting point. What do you think?
Well, I understand that, like, with with revenge, it does make sense that you get revenge. Then let's say you kill somebody because they killed your child. Then the family or friends of the person you just killed might come after you, and it's just going to keep going in a revolving circle. You know what I mean?
That's the revenge. That's the revenge.
That's the revenge part. But with justice,
those are the answers.
Justice, I mean, if you don't have a clue who just harmed your child or who just, took advantage, raped your wife or whatever, you don't know who did it, then unfortunately, the only way you're going to find out is going through the justice system to find out who actually did the crime. So you got to go through that extra level and go through the cops and like all that stuff.
Yeah, that closure comes from the answers of the court.
BD. Oh my Lord. Don't do it.
It's always something. It's always something. Here we go.
BD.
Yeah.
You're on the air, man. We're talking about vengeance. Is it better than justice? And I wanted to get an old man's thought on this. Pretty serious subject here. By the way, BD is Black Dragon Biker TV over on YouTube. What do you think, BD?
Well, I just did a video about it 3 days ago. And I said, what you guys in motorcycle clubs need to do is stop the vengeance. You're destroying your motorcycle club. You guys are so mean and freaking evil and ugly to each other. You don't know how to treat each other like individual pieces of solid gold. You destroy your motorcycle clubs and run them into the ground because you're so damn mean, so mad, so angry, so full of it, so full of yourselves. You're so entitled. Everybody owes you. You can't give, or you feel like I give and nobody else gives back, and you're so mad you want vengeance. But the Lord God said, vengeance is mine. Justice is different. Justice is when somebody gets what they deserve. They get their just reward or their just punishment. Justice is a form of remediation. It's how we remediate something and bring it back to where it needs to be. It's how we set something right. We set something just. Justice is fair. Justice is blind. Justice has no contempt. It's cold. It's swift. It doesn't take a lot of time, or if it does take a lot of time, eventually it sets things right. Vengeance is an ugly thing that begets hate, and hate, as Mike Ball says, comes from below. Hate always comes from below. But vengeance is horrible because it's the gift that never stops giving.
So let me put you in a situation here. What about a child? What if and you know this to be true, that hurts a child really bad or kills a child? Should the parents be able to exact the punishment?
So, in our system of government, no one can exact punishment. Only the government can exact punishment because the government is the only thing that can operate from a cold point of view. It's not personal with the government. But Tia was just showing me a story this morning that a couple was having a baby and the doctor pulled the baby's head off.
Oh.
And in the birth, they did an emergency C-section, and by the time they got the baby out, it was headless.
Oh my
They
God.
wrapped the baby up real tight and presented it to the mother as a stillbirth, not telling her they had ripped its fucking head off. So she didn't find out till 4 days later. They misrepresented the baby as it had died, and she never even knew the baby's head was off until the funeral director told her 4 days later.
Medical malpractice right there. Yep.
Yeah, but do they deserve vengeance? I mean, should they be able to march that doctor out into the hinterlands and tar and feather the lady and so forth and so on? Or, do mistakes happen? I mean, I'm sure babies' heads have been pulled off before. It's just not something you hear about a whole lot.
Very interesting point of view on that. What do you think, China?
I don't know if that I'd probably want to go get the doctor, to be honest with you. If that was my child, I would want to go.
Women have different emotions, don't they, Mike?
Definitely. They're like all like, oh, I want to have a chat. Like for me, I'm like, nope. You're going to go ahead and get me every single charge nurse. You're going to get me every single person that represents this facility right now. Every single person, you are all accountable right now. Let's all sit down because you just killed my child. Every single one of you that owns, that's a manager, anybody, you are all sitting down. If you ain't, here's my freaking lawsuit to you. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, I'd want to kill them. I just want to sit there and just blast them.
By the way, the Black Dragon's joining us from Black Dragon TV, as well as Mikey Ball over at Insane Wheels. We're having a conversation right now about, is vengeance better than justice?
Now I want to ask Black Dragon about the situation with that person that we know from the hot dog place.
Right.
What he did. Hollywood and I know a man that went out to eat with his wife and had a babysitter for their child. And when they came home from their date, the babysitter had killed their child. And in turn, the guy killed the babysitter. Do you feel he was right?
Yes.
So, I don't. I don't feel like he was right. It's illegal in our country to murder someone. But, the law allows for things like praised indifference or fits of passion. You come home and you find your wife actually having sex with a man in your house, in your bed, in your bedroom, in your favorite robe. The law recognizes that sometimes there's temporary insanity and you weren't in your right mind. And so, it may be that he was so overcome by emotion and that he was temporarily insane. And if you're insane, then you cannot get revenge or vengeance because you are not thinking about vengeance. You can't think at all. You're insane. So in that case, he may have been insane, temporarily insane. And the law would find that what he did was okay. But, here's the difference. You walk in the door and your baby's dead, and there's your babysitter with a knife in her hand. And so you kill her, or him, whatever you had as a babysitter. Or you wait a week and you're laying underneath her bushes, and when she comes home from a date, you strangle her dead. So one is murder, one is premeditated murder, and one is maybe temporary insanity or something. And so many people say, I'm going to get that person back. Well, that's clearly revenge. And, you know, justice can end the same way. Justice is maybe she goes to the electric chair and burns 20 years later. But they're two different things. Now, am I telling you that I think it's wrong, but I wouldn't do it? I think it's wrong, but I may well do it because I'm a human as well. And you got to think, vengeance has one key component that justice does not have. Vengeance is tied to emotion, and we can't always control our emotions. For instance, I asked a detective that I knew, what he did child stuff. He was a child abuse detective. I asked him the worst thing he ever saw, and when he told it to me, it's not something I can even repeat on the radio, not even on your show. But when he told me how this child was killed and the condition and the pain and the torture, this was one time that this detective decided to go and get vengeance. So I'm not saying that we're not above it, but it's not morally correct.
Not morally correct. Well, here's another thing as far as trying to keep these type of people in line. Do you agree or disagree with, say, what Iran does, where if you steal from somebody, your hand gets cut off?
Well, Iran doesn't really do that. They have done it, but I don't.
Let's just say on that concept, though. That concept.
Huh?
But that concept.
A concept of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, goes all the way back to the Bible. So it's thought that, you know, in some places, if you kill someone, you have to give up someone. So these are things to give reciprocity, and I think that kind of stuff is justice. Now you've got because recently in India, a guy got mad at a girl who didn't want him and threw acid in her face and blinded him. And the Indian justice system decided to blind him in return.
Mm-hmm.
Only it wasn't like complete vengeance, because to blind him like he blinded her, they would have to put acid in his face and let him go through the whole burning situation of having acid thrown in your face. And that's not what they did. They chemically made him blind in a way that was not painful. He went to sleep and woke up blind. So was that justice? Was that vengeance? It was absolutely justice, because to accomplish the ends, they didn't use the same means. He didn't have to go through the pain and the torture, because the law recognized that as illegal.
Well,
but he did have to suffer the consequence, which was being blind.
Jennifer,
so he got justice.
Jennifer has a statement or a question for you, BD. Jennifer Lee, why should we have to control emotion under those circumstances?
Because we live in society, and in order for society to work, there must be justice. There can't be vengeance. If you want to see vengeance, I mean, World War II in Europe was, it was just atrocious. Some of the things that we would do, after were winning the German war, we would come through, bomb the city. We would use these incendiary bombs that would blow people up in their basements, all these German people in their basements, and it would liquefy them. And then those people that were left would run into the park, and then we'd come right back by and bomb the park. And they would run back into the homes, and we'd come back by and bomb the homes. And we made it a war of attrition against people. Not the armies, but the people. And so when we act our worst, when we are at our worst and we're taking vengeance, we break down as human beings. We don't become a society anymore. We become a murderous, huge, cantankerous sore. And we have the ability to do that. The Rwandan Tutsis versus the Hutus. 2 million people were massacred with axes in the Cambodian War. The Khmer Rouge versus the people. 2 million people were marched off into death camps and murdered. We have been ugly in the German War. At least 6 million Jews were killed. 19 million total people were marched off to extermination camps, and this, that, and the other. So this whole vengeance thing can be ugly. So why should we not be able to fall to our most base emotions? Because we don't know how to control them once we get down there. Once we get to the animal stage, we're not done killing until there's no one left to kill.
Hold on. I got something to say to you, Black Dragon. So Jennifer brings up another point, but something that I brought up earlier in the show. For instance, you'll have someone that will be, let's say, I'm going to use the word grape, so that we're not getting demonetized on YouTube here. Let's say
you don't have to worry, we're on a different channel.
Okay,
So
let's just say, a man rapes a woman, right? That man goes to jail for 6 months, whatever, gets out, and then does the same damn thing again. And then it could be 2-3 years, whatever, gets out and does it again. And these are repeat offenders. And so Jennifer Lee says this: no, sorry, I'm coming for you if you murder someone I love. Fuck justice. Justice takes way too long, and it's never even close to fair. So I have to agree that sometimes, it's us as a republic, right? We got to take matters into our own hands sometimes. The police work for us, number one. And we got to remember that it's we the people. And sometimes we have to take matters into our own hands because obviously the justice system won't do it themselves. You know what I mean? And I'm speaking from someone that I'm not talking about the law at this point. I'm talking about now it is a serious issue that has, like, if you murdered my daughter, I don't like, if you're going to sit there and as cops just pretend, well, we don't know, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to figure it out before you do. And I'm going to handle the situation before you do. Period.
Well, Mike Ball, you're a young man. And you have a baby girl. I'm an older man, and I have a baby girl.
Yes, sir.
And I watched a monster almost kill my child. He held her down in some water in the front yard, strangled her, and came to within seconds of drowning her in a half an inch of fucking water.
Holy shit.
He took my grandson and held him as a human hostage against the police that were trying to get in the house. And the only reason that they didn't come in that house shooting guns is because Ferguson was going on that night, and they didn't want to spread that to their city by killing an armed black man with a child as a hostage. And I got a situation where I was standing face to face with this guy in a courtroom or in the hall of a courtroom.
Right. You have to look at that guy.
And he was talking shit. And I was facing a situation where, all right, now we're face to face, I can kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And there's a whole bunch of stuff we tell each other. We tell ourselves. But killing that man on that spot, or trying to, and he survived, means that I go to prison. And now my daughter's protector is somewhere where he can't protect her.
I get that point.
And that's when shit gets real. That's when it gets real, real, real. And that's when maybe you say, you know what? Maybe I need to let the law handle this, because if I handle it, the consequences are so great to me. Oh, I got my vengeance. Oh, I made him pay. But now look at the cost associated. Do I get to see a grandchild ever again? Do I get to see him grow up? Do I get to see him or her go to the prom? Do I get to be there when they're married?
Well, this one's a little complicated because this is almost like attempted murder rather than an actual murder. I mean, it was a crime, absolutely, 1000%. And of course, if you go to jail, now you are no help to your daughter. You're not any help to anybody at that point. And I understand the concept. But what if some man comes in and murders your entire family? Now you got nothing. You got nothing to stand for now. You got no family. Is it time to take it into your own hands, BD? Or are you still going to the cops?
Wait a second before you ask BD that question. I'm gonna let China Doll answer this one, then go to BD, then to you, because this one from Nelson kind of sums up what he was just talking about. Go ahead.
It says, because we are human beings, not animals in the jungle. Humans have the capacity to control our urges.
You first on that one, China, then BD, then Mike.
Well, humans do have the capacity to control their urges, but as a woman, my emotions are going to get involved if it has to do with a child, especially my own. If anybody harmed, even though my kids are in their 20s, they are adults, anyone put any harm towards one of my children, I'm out for blood.
What do you think, BD, about what Nelson just said? Because we are human beings, not animals in the jungle. Humans have the capacity to control our urges.
Well, sometimes we do and sometimes we don't. But this is what we practice to be able to live together in society. We practice having a societal code and a social construct by which we conduct ourselves. This way, there's no scorched earth, because the Hatfields and the McCoys could easily erupt out of any situation that we're in. I believe he's absolutely right that because we do have a capacity to control our emotions and we try to live together as humans rather than as cavemen, it's important that we have laws that force us to control our emotions, even for those of us who are in a situation where we can't.
Mike.
But I wonder what Tia thinks.
Yeah, where's Tia?
Absolutely. This would be a great question for Tia, to be quite honest, if she would be okay to ever speak on that. It is early, and I understand.
Well,
oh, we got Tia on.
My hat is off. My hat is off to you,
girl.
I always like when Tia comes on my show.
She's a beautiful woman.
You know what it is? It's because she's from Chicago and stuff, and she's hot and she's smart.
She is.
It's because it's Chicago. It's Chicago. That's what it is.
She's a gorgeous woman. Stop it.
Go ahead. Let Tia talk.
You guys have me blushing from ear to ear right now.
Come here. Stop.
Well, as you know, my family is experiencing something similar to what you guys are discussing. We had a double murder. 2 of my close relatives were stabbed to death less than a month ago.
So sorry to hear that.
Yeah, no, we're
Absolutely
hearing that was about the worst news. Hearing, especially people that we know, we always think, oh yeah, it's not going to happen to us until it does. So I'm sorry to hear.
Absolutely. About a week ago, the funeral was last weekend. So I have a lot of animosity, anger in my heart, and I just really want to see someone suffer. But I do believe that I'm a very God-fearing woman, and I do believe that like Black Dragon said, I want to be around to see my kids grow and see and be able to take care of my dad and different things like that. So I'm not the one to go out with the gun. You know, we have people, you know, every family has goons or whatever.
Every family from Chicago.
You're right.
Every family from Chicago has people for that. But I just really feel like I'm waiting on a law. I can't speak for all my relatives, but I do. I just pray every day that the justice will prevail for our family. And I always say, I agree with China Doll when it comes to right now at this moment. I really can't see going to jail for anything other than someone bothering my kids. It's like if something happens to my children, get the bail money ready. I'm ready. That's one reason that I will actually go sit in a jail cell. So I'm kind of biased and just trying to put all my, you know, my faith in God and the judicial system. Is hard to do. We're sitting back waiting for answers for something, and nothing's happening. Like I said, I can't speak for the rest of my family. I can only speak for myself. But I do believe that my heart, I'm the type of person that I do want. I'm not. I don't think I'm a killer. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to have that on my heart. But even in the situation with my children, I still would feel bad if I did something to other people. That's not my nature. That's a really hard subject. It depends on the situation, the circumstances. It's just really hard to say, oh, somebody raped my daughter, I'm going and slit his throat. You know, it's just really hard to say that at this moment, you know.
How hard is it?
But I
understand. How hard is it for you right now, Tia, with the unknown of the perpetrator that did this to your family?
It's very hard, and every time I hear what happened and how they suffered and how they was tortured, they were robbed. 2 older women, 1 wheelchair bound, and I just imagine my mom or any older woman who has basically fought their whole entire life to survive, losing. 1 lost a husband a year ago, back and forth to the doctor, knee replacement, hip replacement, cancer, this and that, and have to survive all of those things only to be taken out by the hands of somebody so selfish with no regards or respect for life. It's very hurtful. There's not a day or moment I'm not really thinking about it. It's very hurtful, but I'm sure it's not the worst thing that's ever happened to anybody. Well, people lose people every day, but you learn to, if you fear God, like you say you do, like people say they do, you will have a certain amount of faith. And like I said, all circumstances are different. So, you know, if it was a different situation, I may not be as forgiving or patient or calm. You know what I'm saying? So it's really a hard. When you guys first started talking, I was like, whoa.
Tia, I got a question for you, you know, and I can understand, listen, like where you don't want to act and do something where you could go potentially to jail / prison for the rest of your life. And then now you're not valuable to the rest of your family, your kids, you know, and I totally 1000% understand this. And this is something I just asked Black Dragon right before that you got on. You know, when does it come into our own times to handle these kind of situations? Let's just say, and I don't mean to be disrespectful or numb to any situation right now, Tia, and I don't want you to think that. It's a straight question. That someone comes in and murders your entire family. Okay, your kids, your everything. You lose everything and it's you. Do you take matters in your own hands, or are you sitting there just with the cops all, nonstop, where they're just sitting there? We don't know. We don't know.
Well,
You
I would think not only that scenario, Mike, but the two questions I have for Tia would be, what would she consider justice for this heinous act that it was upon her family? And by the way, if you got any information on this, make sure you let somebody know. Black Dragon has a number that you can call. You can be anonymous on this one. We got a huge reach. So if you haven't heard about this situation, go and watch his show on this. I was crying. Hollywood actually cried on this
If
one.
anyone has any information, not only that for that phone number, but you can also reach any of us on any of these platforms and reach out to us if you guys happen to know something. And it would be, and seriously, you guys don't think it's like a rat situation. It's not. These are two elderly disabled women that were brutally murdered. This is ridiculous. This is not like some club on club stupid stuff. This is ridiculous. So anyways, I'm sorry to interrupt. That was a great question, Hollywood, and I would love to hear.
What would you consider justice in that, Tia? And you being from Chicago, I grew up in Montclair. You grew up on the South Side. The second question would be, is vengeance the reason for the cycle of violence in our city? But go ahead on the first one.
So now you're taking it in another direction, because I grew up around a lot of gang violence, and I know a lot of gang members, and I know how they handle things, and I know, the thing is, it's actually the situation we're talking about with my aunts could have been, if it was in Chicago, a retaliation for a something else that happened within the gang. A lot of times they do go after your mother, your aunt, your children, your woman. You know what I'm saying? And it'll go on and on until they call a truce, until the gangs actually sit down and say, okay, no more killing. We got to figure this out. It can go on and on for years. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people get hurt, lose their lives, and for what? So that is the biggest reason why I left. I saw too many. I looked in the eyes of too many murdered family members and neighbors, and it was crazy. And I just refused to have my children exposed to that type of lifestyle. I was born in it. A lot of times you can't help the circumstances that you're born in, but when you know better, you do better. So my whole family actually migrated back to the South to get away from that type of life, that type of environment. This is it's a really touching goal, because I've seen in this situation, I taste blood in my mouth. So I want action. But I don't want to see anybody else get hurt. But yeah, I do want justice. Not even necessarily to see them suffer, taken off the street. That was the act of a savage, and savages belong in cages.
But does it give you also an answer too? It gives you an answer too, because right now there's a lot of unknowns, right, Tia? So when you do go through the justice system, you're getting a lot of answers that right now you don't have. And those are the answers that, of course, you want. And so I can totally understand that as well.
Would you
Like I said,
would you consider justice, Tia, the death penalty in this case?
Absolutely. There were 2 lives taken, stolen. You took something from people. And if the person was my son and he did something like this, I would want justice for that family. My son, I would love him from the jail cell. I would come pray with them. I would come visit them. But you don't do things. You don't hurt people like that and expect to just get away with it. People do. There's a lot of unsolved murders in the world going on right now. But I like I said, it's easy to take a life. A child can. All you have to do is give them a pistol and tell them pull the trigger. They can do that.
Yep.
That's nothing to take a life. But to live with what you've done, that will kill me. It's to if I'm in I used to be in an abusive relationship. My thing now, let me just go, because I wouldn't want to kill you. So your mother loves you. You got family that love you. Let me just get away from you, because I would rather do that than to have your blood on my hand. I can't deal with that.
Mhm.
So we were discussing the incident he just spoke about with the baby. And as we were listening to the news reporter report the story, I said very briefly in my mind, and that doctor is still alive. Just very briefly, I said that. But
Mhm.
I definitely would be that young woman standing next to her lawyer. I think, I'm not sure. We all could say, oh, if that happens to me,
Right.
I would do this. That it's just really easy to do that. But when emotions, when we first got the news about my family members, like I said, I tasted blood in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I can't speak for. I might have family members out on the street looking for this guy or these guys or whoever right now. But I'm just sitting back every day. We have a family Zoom periodically. We have discussions in our chat room. We're trying to get to the bottom of this, and we just want something to happen for closure right now.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Closure would be the biggest thing. And Steve just said a great comment. He said Miss Tia is a better and bigger person than I am, for sure, and I can definitely respect her outlook on this absolutely horrible situation. And I can as well. I agree with that statement 1000%. And
That's
I
why I get
believe,
excited all the time when Tia's on the show.
well, Tia's an amazing person, in general, but for her, this really is showing, like, I swear, when we go through the deepest, darkest, most traumatic times, it really shows your true character, because it's never about how you fall down, it's how you pick yourself back up. And unfortunately, I understand that these are lives that cannot be brought back. And I'm not going to try to play that down whatsoever. But what I can say is Tia is a very, very strong person. And the way she's even talking about it is very, I couldn't do it myself. I couldn't do it like that. And so I have to just tip my hat off to you, Miss Tia. You're just an absolute
Well,
amazing
you
person.
can tell the old man upstairs is truly in her heart.
Yes, for sure.
It's not a fake.
You learn to be that way. You absolutely learn to be that way. And if I'm over here all upset and angry, how am I gonna calm the rest of my family down? We gotta have some people that's level headed, logical. Now listen, one of our family Zooms said, one of my older cousins said, now listen, don't go out trying to get no revenge. We're not going to do that. We're going to let the law handle it. And we just, because we are a God-fearing family. And sometimes that's the only thing you can do. There's people who went through things just as bad, and you don't see them out killing people. And I just, sometimes you just have to be, just put your faith in God. That's the only thing I know how to do. Because every time I've ever been in the dragon's den and didn't know how I was going to get out, and I said a prayer and I saw things work for me. So it's nothing nobody could tell me. This is something that I experienced for myself in my journey.
Damn straight.
And that's the only thing we have right now, right?
Well,
my heart.
Never getting out of the dragon's lair.
one thing, Tia, I would like to do, and I'm going to talk to Dragon about this maybe Monday. I like to have just Tia on the show with us, China Doll, and talk about the cycle of violence in Chicago and how the hell we can stop it. What's been
Oh,
done?
I would love that. I would
That's
love that.
awesome.
I would love that, Hollywood. I actually lived in a very gang infested neighborhood. I was
Outside.
raised, like I said, and it's actually the West Side.
Oh,
West
wow.
Side's-
The West Side.
She's showing the W's, you know.
The
Okay,
West
I
Side's
get
a little different. You have to know that's why I want her to come on,
you.
because
Right.
she
It's so
grew up in
different. It's so
Chicago.
different. Yeah,
And we
from
know
compared to
It
me.
is so different. It's a hood in every city. Every city. There's bad parts on the south side, the west side, the north side, every side. There's always a hood.
Well, that's why I want to
there's a
talk
high-
to somebody from Chicago that knows it, that was there. It's a lot different than talking about it to Mike, because he's
Right.
not from our city.
I'm in Southern California. You know, I can only speak on my regions, my cities, and stuff like that. And I think it would be a fantastic episode for you three, especially because you guys are from Chicago.
Well,
to-
two of us are.
Not me.
well, you're yeah, I get it, China, but I'm just saying.
No,
Yeah.
that's something Tia to tell you there. There's suburbs, and then
There's
there's
the
Chicago.
suburbs. Yeah, of course, there's the outskirts, the suburbs. I get it. You know, just like with any major city.
You just dissed us if you don't know
no,
that.
I apologize. Did not mean to do that. Okay, just saying. I really think it would be a wonderful episode having you guys on and speaking on Chicago, because I'm going to be honest, I'm ignorant on the subject because I have never been to Chicago. Let's just say, I mean, that's number one. It's not like I know the city. I don't. I can only speak on where I live, and my cities is, it's different. But we all have our own. It's all kind of the same, but at the same time, it's all different quirks. You know, they have their own politics, their own slang, their own everything. So, and different ways of how they hold territory and regions, whatever. So it would be very interesting to listen, as for me, to hear you guys speak on that.
Well, I know BD's listening because I can hear him in the background. BD, Hollywood's going to call you later because we're going to steal your wife.
I just want to have
'Cause
her
she's-
on Monday at 8:00 and just do a whole show on Chicago violence so
Because
people understand.
let
it.
me tell you, BD, she's much more pretty to look at.
Yeah, BD, get off the camera. You got the radio face. Okay? You got the radio face. She's got the one where she's ready for the camera. Okay.
So that's what I think
I
we'll
look
do.
forward to that.
If Tia agrees, we'll have her on Monday at 8:00, and we're going to be talking about Chicago violence. And she can really give you the education from the west and south side. Like she said, north side's different. We have the Ike as the dividing line right there, and the violence actually goes way back decades. And a lot of the suffering that the city of Chicago brought upon a lot of people, because I don't know if a lot of people understand, Chicago is one of the most segregated cities in the world, and it still is to today. But what do you think, Tia, Monday at 8, if Dragon lets you on?
Absolutely, I'm there.
Tia's going to be
Listen, I've been
there.
to Chicago.
That would be 9 p.m. for her, by the way.
No,
She's
9 a.m. for her.
9
I've been
a.m.
to Chicago 5 times, and I've never seen any violence. Not one time. My office is in Lyle. Well,
That's why.
I've been
I was about to say, are you in the rich, nice little suburb or something?
Exactly. That's exactly what happened.
Okay, no, I just wanted to make sure that the context was right here,
Tour of
Tia.
downtown Chicago. It's one of the most beautiful cities I've ever seen in my life, with this river that runs through it.
But the
Daily
problem,
Center, and
hold on, Mike.
I had Steve's candy. It was beautiful.
Problem with what you just said is you said Lyle. Lyle's not in Chicago, and it's a ritzy suburb. And what I'd like Tia to do is take you down to the west side or take you down to the south side and see what you think.
Hey, Tia,
No,
take him on the
I
L.
was taken into Chicago and to a neighborhood, but I went to a backyard party where they had, I got to show video of that party. They had a beautiful band. They had all these famous, real famous artists that were there for this backyard party. I love Chicago. I think it's wonderful. Lyle is so wonderful. I went
That's not
downtown.
Chicago, man.
So is the
buildings
city
are
beautiful? Is the city beautiful, but the people, like the culture is just insane and different, or what makes it different from the rest of the country?
Well,
In your opinion.
I
don't
graduated boot camp from Chicago. I went to boot camp in Chicago, and we got to go out on boot camp night. Now they told us there were some places we couldn't go, but I had a beautiful time in Chicago. I don't know what the hell's wrong with you people.
We'll ask that question on Monday. Can she come on, BD?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, cool. I'll send you a link and all that type of stuff. Yeah, Lyle. What the hell is wrong?
Lyle.
Nice little suburb, right?
That's like saying Hamburg.
Yeah, that ain't Chicago, dude. You didn't get the full experience, man.
Put him on that L train.
Right?
Now,
Over on the
Chicago must be a pretty bad place, because when I went to when I was in the Navy, we were in Naples, Italy, and there was a city there called Petite Chicago, and it was a straight up freaking ghetto that you could die in for real.
Well,
And so for them to call that Petite Chicago, I was thinking, well, damn, what is big Chicago?
Petite. That means little, and then come experience the real deal.
Hollywood has to go and get to work and stuff like that. We're running on an hour and 45. We're going to have special guest Tia on Monday for a very serious discussion about the violence in Chicago. And she'll be able to give the rundown on a lot of stuff, and it ain't going to be about Lyle. But
no, she does talk about it a lot. And I tell you something, her penchant for I could tell you stories, but I remember one time I was having a particular problem with an issue in the biker club world. And Tia very plainly said, those guys ain't no fucking gangsters. I grew up with gangsters. Them guys, I haven't met a gangster yet.
Yeah, she can call it out.
She's actually right. She is right.
She's the one that can call it out. She can be like, no, that ain't no freaking deal there.
You haven't met no gangsters yet. Chicago is you have to admit, man, that you go around the world, which you did, and when you mention Chicago, first thing that comes up is Al Capone.
It's true.
Right.
So we'll have her on Monday, but that is it for the Motorcycle Madhouse morning show this morning. I know we ran over, but we had the beautiful T on. We had BD from Black Dragon Biker TV on. We had Mike Ball with Insane Throttle and a guest.
Insane Wheels.
Insane Wheels.
Oh, Insane Wheels.
You
whatever.
are Insane Throttle.
But we had
Wheels.
China Doll is the co-host. But everybody, you have a good one. We'll talk to you later. It's going to be an exciting show on Monday. Our thoughts go out to Tia and her family. If you have any information, call Black Dragon, any of us, or the Chicago Police Department with the information that you have. And like
Memphis, Tennessee.
Memphis,
Tennessee. That's
I got
right.
Chicago in my head.
Yeah,
But
I
if
did
you-
too. I did too.
But if you reach out to any of us, we will get your information to Black Dragon.
That's correct. That's
And
correct.
it's not Radin, you idiots. This is something totally different. So if you have information, get a hold of the Memphis Police Department or us. But we'll talk to you. See you on tomorrow, but we're going to have Tia on Monday, and then have a follow-up with Black Dragon later in the show about his thoughts about because Black Dragon grew up in Oklahoma, I think, so that's a little different than growing up in Chicago.
You had some cowboy boots, dirt bikes, and some cowboy hats. I understand.
Yeah, he
I
still
got you.
wears cowboy
Still
hat.
wears the cowboy
I
hat.
know he loves it. He at least he embraced his culture. You know what I mean? I love it.
Talk to y'all later.
I say goodbye, vamoose, adios, ciao, so long, get your hat jack.
#1 internet biker radio show is now available on